No.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Zero Interest. Today we're doing Konosuba, Episode 8. The episode that I've been saying for a while. It's a bit messy, and
You were understating things.
I was. Particularly because, well, I have heard a lot of not so great things about this episode and what they did with the adaptation. I've also, I've only seen, parts of it. I've never seen the whole thing start to finish before this episode. And so, real quick, what this episode does is it cuts out. You can tell there were probably like one or two episodes that were supposed to be in the show that they cut out. Again, I read the light novel, so the pacing never was a problem for me. But they cut out a whole thing where they go to a graveyard to kind of deal with the spirits there, and they meet a character named Wiz, who's actually pretty important to the entire show. And they have an encounter with her. Aqua's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll take over your job, exercising the spirits." And there's a whole thing, and it's just they cut all that out, and so you're introduced to Wiz, but you know nothing about her or her personality, and it's really bad.
Yeah, from what it looks like from seeing this episode, I would say they basically just cut out 60% of an entire arc of the show.
Because that's why I hypothesized that it wasn't originally supposed to be 10 episodes.
I mean, you can tell
like,
it looks like they do flashbacks, and it looks like they're just taking shots from stuff they animated for those episodes and just slotted that in there with what time they had.
yeah, and this is kind of one of the main reasons why I am not a big fan of the adaptation of season 1. Season 2 again actually is paced for 10 episodes, so it's better. But it's not great.
Not really, no.
So I thought I would just kind of talk about that. We'll talk more about it when we get to the part where Wiz gets introduced. But for now, Casey, take us away.
Yeah, so this probably wasn't going to go well as an episode, even if they had those two episodes in, because, oh boy, is there a lot of Aqua in this episode.
Yeah, and she's not
Oh.
great.
No, she's not. So, first thing that happens in this episode is it's still winter, and Aqua is. I pointed this out while we were watching it, how stupid this was, but they're outside with a campfire, and she's burning Cosmo's clothes so she can keep the fire going, and he tells her to stop. And neither of them apparently consider going back into the building that they're standing directly in front of that would probably not be especially insulated. It's a barn after all, Zero pointed that out. But it would still, block the wind and thus wind chill, so it would be warmer by default and would probably be as warm as a shitty campfire would allow completely outside.
Only two explanations I can come up with this are: one, they can't do a fire in that because there's hay and there's wood, and it's just very
That's
flammable.
my point. They wouldn't need to. The fire that they have is shit and wouldn't provide pretty much any heat. But it'd still be warmer anyway because it's indoors, even if not insulated very well.
I don't know exactly the full state of the stable because I'm pretty sure they probably explained this in the light novel. It's drafty and the wind gets in anyways, so it's not doesn't make much of a difference either way. And they don't own the stable, so they can't actually probably even do a fire in it because there's a possibility of damage. But I don't know.
Yeah, my entire point is they wouldn't need to if they were to just go back inside, and it would provide exactly the same amount of comfort.
Yeah, but the person starting the fire is Aqua, so.
And also the hay inside, and also it's daytime, so they could just go into the city where, one, it would be warmer, and two, they could just bum around in the guild where it would be warmer. And there are a lot of options that they had before burning
they
clothes.
went for it. they went for a silly gag and they didn't think it through all the way.
Yeah.
So
that happens and basically sets the tone for the entire episode of Aqua being stupid and annoying and a pain in the ass and just generally making everything more difficult for everyone around her.
Like, when we were watching the episode, there is one moment where I think it's actually like two moments in this where it's actually genuinely hilarious for what happens to Aqua or how Aqua reacts to something. But most of the time, this is not her at her best at all as a character, being funny or anything at all.
Yeah. So they go into town.
Mm-hmm.
They go into, as I said. So they go into town and go to this shop for some reason. I forget why. Cosmo's talking about how he needs skills because he has some points to spend, but the party isn't balanced very well.
Yeah, and it's a magic item shop.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like maybe I could get something. Get some firepower.
Yeah, and they go in and see this girl Wiz, and Aqua immediately attacks her, or at least grabs her. At least,
Yeah.
Again, like maybe they could have creatively cut the episodes a little bit, cut out a lot of that dead air that was happening in previous episodes, and just skimp it down instead of just completely cutting that entire section of the arc.
The only explanation I can possibly come up with is they got the episodes cut halfway through the series. It's like, oh, now you only have 10 instead of 12, and then they're like, oh crap.
Yeah, but I guess I mean, maybe it was both a time thing and a budget thing. Like, they wouldn't have the budget remaining to fully animate those sections of the show. Like, it only shows, like, maybe 5 seconds of those, what would have been 2 episodes. So, maybe it was too late at that point. They didn't have the budget for those 2 episodes, so it wasn't a question of whether they could cut anything else. It was cutting those 2 episodes, or that's it, you're done.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of weird shit apparently going on in this whole production, and yeah, it was weird. So yeah, we get a very condensed backstory of how they know this character. They go to a graveyard on a job, and they're supposed to cleanse the graveyard, something.
Yeah, they were supposed to go and like there's strange stuff going on in the graveyard. They were supposed to go investigate it. Then they found her. She's a lich, and she was just trying to keep the spirits at bay there. Mm-hmm. And she also runs this shop in town.
Yeah, and she is called the No Life King as her title, which
I think is the No Life King in English? I can't remember.
There was subtitles as that. I wasn't really paying attention to what the actual Japanese term was. So
if they said it in English, that's just a weird Japanese English thing, I guess.
Maybe. I mean, it seems like an odd translation choice. Like, that's literally a reference to another... Maybe that was the point. It was a reference to another show that Americans would have watched. Like, that's Alucard's title, just for people's understanding. Alucard from Hellsing, which is a much more popular show that people will recognize. So yeah, that was a little weird. But at some point, Wiz brings up, entirely of her own accord, that she is one of the Demon General people.
Yeah. She's one of the
and Aqua immediately attacks her. Because, hey, money! Yay, money! Money! I get money. And she's like, no, you won't get money. I don't do anything. I'm just there maintaining the barrier, and I have literally done nothing else. No one knows I exist, so you won't get any money for me.
There's no bounty for me, literally. Yeah. And so something they don't explain in the right here that they explain in the light novel is that you don't actually need to kill all the demon generals to break the barrier.
Yeah, I guess they would just have to willingly do it because they're actively doing it. They're actively maintaining
I think it's like there's like 12 or something, and you only need to kill like 8. And if you kill those 8, then it's weak enough that you can just break it.
I think she said she was the 8th.
8th or 10th?
She said she was the 8th, but I don't know whether that was, hey, I'm the last one, or that was just, hey, I happen to be the 8th one, and there are more after that. That's a weird distinction to make then, if that's the case. But that's
there's like you don't need to. Basically, the message is you only need to break a portion. You don't need to kill a portion of them, so some can still live. It's just the barrier will still be there. It's just weak. Yeah. Which is actually kind of the main plot information that's important, I guess.
Yeah, but in fairness, they also didn't mention the whole barrier thing until literally just now. Like, literally, that was the exposition of, hey, there's a barrier that the Devil Generals maintain, and yeah.
I'm not sure if it was. I think it might have been brought up earlier in the light novel, but it wasn't actually put in the anime until now.
Yep.
So
it was probably brought up when the concept of Demon Generals was brought up with the guy, the headless guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, like point of order, they do bring up right now, which is like, hey, why aren't you hanging out with the castle and stuff? And she's like, yeah, that guy was a douche, that guy you killed, so he would just throw his head down the hallway and use it to look up my skirt. Which...
I wasn't...
Yeah, I wasn't comfortable with that. Which, yeah, all that stuff about, Darkness saying he was a creeper and kind of...
she was completely right.
Yeah. So
that's why he freaks out so much, because he's like, hey, don't expose me.
Yeah. So that's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Just in a hindsight kind of way.
My headphones.
So after that, they discuss, hey, could I learn a skill from you?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. And Aqua's like, no, liches are evil and stuff. You shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't. You're the goddess's attendant.
Oh,
I hate her so much.
Mm-hmm.
And so, basically...
Oh, and she talks shit about the girl's tea, because she's that petty, basically.
Yeah. Elf was just being really kind of... Like, she's a goddess, technically, so, like, undead is literally her archenemy. It's literally the type of creature she specialized in murdering. So it makes sense, but, like, it doesn't help at all.
Yeah. I mean, also, there's a little bit of a... Like, it's the D&D thing of there's a little bit of hypocrisy since, technically speaking, Cosma is undead twice over. But, whatever.
So yeah, you're right. So he after Aqua,
snipes.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to really experience the ability so Cosma can learn it, and she's just kind of being a jerk. Cosma eventually learns Drain Touch.
Yay!
Which is
something he doesn't actually use in the episode, but, I guess maybe comes up later.
It's one of the most important skills in the series going forward. Because he can transfer health. He can transfer health in mana. And guess who has only so much magical power for one attack?
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
So, So it actually has a lot of uses that come up later that make it really good.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, there's a whole rigmarole of Aqua being kind of a bitch and just fighting Wiz on letting her use the technique, and then tries to murder her afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, literally tries to murder her. Like... Yeah, they're not even trying to make her a sympathetic character at this point. Like, she is just kind of wretched in every way.
Yeah.
And it's intentional. Doesn't make it better, though.
He's just kind of stuck with her. And I do feel like Aqua gets a bit better because her stuff's more funny in the second season.
Yeah, and I'm still just waiting for that, but it's taking so long.
I
I
I
would
know.
have given up on this show a dozen times over at this point.
I
Not,
just okay.
yeah.
Um. So what happens next is Guy bursts in and basically, they talk about, oh yeah, Wiz is a well-known magician because that's her cover, and she tends to get requests like, hey, can you go exercise this mansion?
Mm.
And so we're going to take care of it, and if we do it, we get basically a free mansion. And then the rest of the party finally shows up.
Yeah, all those other characters that, you basically don't use. Like, literally, I think Darkness was in a grand total of 2 shots in this entire episode. And one of them was like a second long of just a shot of her and whatever the hell's happening to her, and then it cuts away again.
Because of the way this show is and the way its pacing is, like the first season ends before we even get to Darkness's first actual arc.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she tends to just kind of be there and be a one note joke.
Mm-hmm.
Literally one joke and
Yeah.
one note.
I don't even remember what the joke was. It was over that quickly. But yeah. So we're getting ahead of ourselves. Aqua
So they go.
does her thing of, hey, I'm an expert on undead, and she, ooh, this is the story of the. No one's giving her an ounce of credit, and they just fucking leave her outside.
見えるわ。この屋敷には貴族が遊び半分で手を出したメイドとの間にできた子供、その隠し子が幽閉されていたようね。もともと体の弱かった貴族の男は病死、隠し子の母親のメイドも行方知れず、この屋敷に一人残された少。
Yeah.
They get settled in and they say, hey, where's Aqua? And Cosmo opens the window and she's still outside doing her bullshit.
Her eyes are closed. She doesn't know that they left.
Yeah. I'm trying to... Was it Chris Edwards? John Edwards. John Edwards was the guy that would do cold reading on like an audience and stuff and be an asshole. Yeah. That guy. She does that routine. And Cosmo continues to ignore her, as he should.
He opens the window and then he closes it. And it's like, okay, we're gonna go get settled in now.
Yeah. So then, I don't remember whether anything happens before nighttime happens. Aqua is a bitch again, and she's whining about her wine that was drunk by somebody.
The ghost actually loves alcohol for some reason. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I was being a little harsh there at that particular moment. But yeah, she's moaning about my wine, and then she goes and wanders off for.
She goes and runs off to go kill the ghosts.
Yeah, a good 2-3 minutes where she wasn't on camera, so to speak. It was such a relief. I'm not even kidding.
She's gone, and then Cosmos goes back to his room, and all the ghost dolls start appearing, and he starts freaking out. So.
Yep, so he runs to Aqua's room, and Aqua-sama and stuff.
And Megaman is there.
Yeah, and...
Because Megaman was scared and was hoping to go to the bathroom with Aqua because Aqua could protect her.
Yeah. Yeah, this... Like, it's better without Aqua, but good god, this got creepy. Like, just in the... This is a 12-year-old girl, and we're going to have a whole segment on her going to the bathroom, and then have a whole segment of her running around without her knickers on. Yeah, I was a little uncomfortable watching that segment, but, so they go to the bathroom together after a bit of an exposition thing, and Megaman's in the toilet, and like Cosmo's outside.
Make it any less creepy, I guess.
It doesn't make it less creepy.
Yeah, no. The whole bathroom thing, it's meant to be just kind of a comedic thing of there's a whole... We're having, like, paranormal activities happening here, and we have to go to the bathroom, and this is the worst.
Yeah, that's nice. But also the lingering shot of her knickers on the floor.
Yeah.
Anyway, so... I'm not going to be putting that clip in, by the way. Just want to put that in. out front on this. I'm not going to seek through the episode so that I can add a clip of that. So that's not going to happen. Though now that I've said that, it would be funnier if I then immediately put the clip in, but that's also not going to happen.
But Kazuma and Megaman, their interactions are usually pretty funny.
Yeah.
They bring the episode back.
Yeah.
It's
much better. It's
fun
like, again. It's fun, and no one's being pointlessly bitchy and sniping at everyone and being a pain in the ass.
Like, where's Darkness? And 2 seconds, you see Darkness has like a little like thing for like ghosts, and she's panting, and it just cuts back like halfway through her pant, and I'm just like, yeah, that's what she's doing.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. So Cosmo's outside the bathroom, and he sees like, oh, ghosts! Ah, they're coming! And like busts in the door and drags her out of the bathroom. Then I got uncomfortable and tried to stop paying attention, so you're gonna have to take over for a little bit for what happens next.
So they're running around, and he's like, at least you got halfway. I still have to go. We need to get out of here. And then Megan's like, I thought this would happen, so I have a vase.
Yeah,
you can go in it.
Yeah,
and she's because earlier
we missed the whole thing about he suggested she could pee in a bottle, and she's like, what are you expecting me to do with that exactly? Which, yeah, valid point.
Which she turns around on him and it's like, now you pee in this vase.
Which is actually more reasonable. That's how that works.
So then they get into this like storeroom or something, and it's tense. And then eventually Kazuma can't remember what exactly happens in the storeroom.
I don't know. He considers using the bottle, and then maybe he hears something outside, or decides he really, really has to actually use the bathroom and use the actual bathroom, and opens the door and hits Aqua in the face, and it's it's a nice bit of catharsis. Is all that is. It's like an entire episode of her just being the most annoying thing I could ever have seen, when I'm quite as already kind of a little bit annoyed as I was when we started watching this episode.
Yeah, he wasn't in a good mood when we started.
No, I was woken up by my alarm from sleep, and then stuff happened, and yeah. But Aqua gets hit in the face, and I feel a little bit better about my life today. So
they go to the guild, and they're like, okay, there was also a kill quest for this, so congratulations, here's some money. And
hey, you get a free place to stay for however long.
And Kazuma's like, hey, so what exactly was the cause of all this? Why did all the ghosts gather here? It's like, well, somebody like just put up a huge barrier in the cemetery, and now all the ghosts just kind of left, and where do you think that's where they actually came from? And he's like, oh, the cemetery right by the mansion. He looks at Aqua, and he pulls her aside, and he's like, you were going there every day to exorcise the spirits like you said you were, right? And she's like, no, well, you see, I kind of maybe put a barrier there so they could disperse and leave. He's like, we're not taking the money for this.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she literally caused the entire problem. Which, got them a place to stay, but that's also called a protection racket, so... Yeah.
It was unintentional, but like... You know what's a fun fact?
Shoot.
Aqua's stats can't increase because they're already at the highest they'll ever be.
So she's going to be dumb as a rock for the rest of the show?
Her intelligence cannot actually increase through leveling up.
I can't say I'm surprised by that fact. Alright, so, that's more or less... Oh, they go back to the mansion, and everyone's inside, and Aqua's... Oh, no. I'm jumping ahead again. He goes to the graveyard and is like cleaning the gravestones and such, and it's like, hey, stop causing trouble and such to the ghosts.
It's the grave of the one girl ghost that Aqua was talking about. earlier that actually does haunt the mansion, and something you kind of don't get in the in this that you got in the light novel is that particular ghost is still actually there and actually does appreciate Kazuma taking care of her grave.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up again partially because it's almost a running joke that I bring this up every episode, partially because it probably pisses you off something fierce. But hey, maybe we could have actually gotten that backstory for that little girl rather than getting frog nature biology and such in the second episode.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Like, that actually sounds a little bit interesting, and I would have been down for that, but, I guess partially it was a thing with the joke with the, hey, let's ignore Aqua. That makes sense.
Again, I do want to stress that I've read all the light novels released so far, and season 1 of the anime, I didn't see all of it. The last couple episodes, I kind of ended up skipping out on. I ended up kind of skipping out on the last couple episodes of the anime, but the light novel is genuinely a good read. So, yeah,
Like I say, this was kind of a shit show. Not a shit show, though it certainly has its moments, but just a mess is what I'm trying to say.
It was a mess in this episode in particular. There were some good moments, but I just want to get us to season 2 right now.
Yeah. So to wrap up the episode, Kazuma goes back to the mansion and he overhears Aqua saying, hey, just, if we're out of firewood, why don't you just burn Kazuma's clothes? Which... God, I hate her. Yeah. I don't even need to explain why at this point, really, do I?
No, you've gone into great detail.
Yeah, but I also don't have to for why this is just kind of a generally terrible thing to do. Just casually. I get it's a joke. It's not a funny one. It's just everything's mean-spirited when it comes to her. And they could maybe go with a little bit more camaraderie and a little less... Everything she does makes me want to punch her in the face. And see her get hit in the face by a door.
Yeah.
Like, the balance is a little off, is what I'm saying.
I feel like they get to that. They get more of a balance later on into the series. But yeah, she's pretty it feels like at least at this point, the writer had one idea for Aqua as a character and went hard on that idea.
It almost feels like a bashing story. Like, this is the kind of stuff you would see in a fan fiction where, the writer genuinely doesn't like the character, and so shows them in the worst possible light at every opportunity.
I wouldn't go that far, but I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, so that was episode 8.
Yeah.
God, I
we'll
hope
see.
episode 9's better. Like, it's a low bar, but I hope. I hope.
Oh yeah, episode 9 is just going by the summary. Next episode, Kazuma learns that there's a... well, I'm not going to say anything, but it's pretty funny what happens. So...
So we're
going to see you guys.
Now. Yeah.
So, bye everybody, I guess. That was Konosuba, episode 8, Zero Interest. Have a nice day. We'll see you guys next time, and hopefully Casey will be in a better mood by the end of the episode.
Let's have an episode-to-episode rating for how I'm feeling about the show, just in general. Like, 1 to 10, 10 being good, obviously. I think I'm at about a 3 now, and pretty much an entire point of that score is Megumin. That's where I am right now. So
3 out of 10?
3 out of 10, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I really hope it just improves and just stops Yeah. So I'll update that score next episode and see where I stand. Bye, everybody.